Hey, Cian, how
Welcome
are
back
you, man?
to Good Boy. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Happy Halloween. Will you be out
Yeah, I
trick or
suppose
treating this
we're
evening?
back to it now. I think he's too small. We'll see. He might get actually terrified when people call to the door. He'd be like, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah, our two
But we'll see.
like were like that last year. Now they went out trick or treating for the first time last year, and it was kind of people would open the door and they'd just be standing there, and I'd have to be like, "Say trick or treat." But sure, they're back out tonight, so hopefully the weather is starting to clear up. But yeah, and what are we looking at this week? We should say no Ryan this week. He's graduating, so congratulations to Ryan.
Ryan, yeah, he's graduating from NTU in
Yeah,
digital media. Fair
fair
play
play.
now. He was telling me he's going for a lovely meal afterwards.
Yes, I mean, if there's a good reason to miss the highlight of the week, it's that. So fair play.
To celebrate your 3 4 years at university. Fair play. Well then, we will get into it. I'll go updates.
I don't know if you've seen any of this, but there's been a little bit of chatter around the SEO communities in the last couple of weeks, but especially in the last couple of days, about Google potentially tweaking or updating the search algo. So some people they're reporting like big swings in search traffic from around the 28th. Some people are kind of saying they're seeing drops of like 42 to 45%, whereas like others are kind of noticing the opposite and they're seeing kind of big jumps up the way. And some of the third party tools are showing a lot of volatility. That's just something there I pulled from Semrush this morning. So you can see a bit of a spike there around the 28 and coming up. It's like 5.7, so it's saying we're within the high range. But obviously something happened around the 16th and the 17th and again on the 23rd. So I don't know. Like I haven't seen any big drops for any of our clients, but it's
No,
just
no
one of them.
volatility.
Yeah.
Slight bit of volatility for a US based client, all right. But no, everything seems okay so far. But we'll keep an
Yeah.
eye out. It's always good. So they do get it right, though. They know when something's coming out. But I reckon there's
Yeah.
going to be a lot more of these with the release of the AI overview. There's going to be
This
a
is
few
it. The
more
more
of
they're
these
kind of doing
happening.
stuff, and even when the way they're taking things away with the like the Num 100 stuff.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? One of the biggest impacts I think has happened is actually their change in not something that's happened to the SEO side of things, but it's what's happened to the search result. I was only discussing this with a client. They actually had a bit of
Yeah.
a decrease in brand name clicks because they are bidding for their brand in PPC.
They're,
But now the sponsored result is looks like an organic result, except you scroll down, it says hide the sponsored results. So he was actually saying he was actually tricked into
oh,
clicking on it. So again, Google
jeez.
just going more for the advert. But
Yeah.
a lot of discussion around brand in the paid media side of things because everyone's the successful campaigns in PMAX are people going after brand name ones, and Google are taking the conversion metric, but they
Yeah.
probably would have shown organically anyway.
That's
Something to look
interesting.
at.
No. Just another one
Yeah.
then from Google. In Search Console, you might have noticed it because it's something they're rolling out like across the next couple of weeks and months. But they're now adding query groups. So if there's a whole load of similar queries that are on the same topic, Google are now clumping them in together.
Their markup validator.
And like all the ones for SEO, they're pulling in under the SEO topic, which kind of handy. Like, I mean, I suppose a lot of SEOs and like ourselves, you would be doing this manually, or you would be kind of using third-party tools to do it. But now Google's kind of doing it for you,
Hmm.
so like it's kind of handy if you're
Is
more
this
new to SEO. Now, just something to note that Google said is like it's only really for sites that have a lot of different queries and large volumes of keywords and keyword queries. I guess like if you have a smaller site, it's not really relevant for you because you could just pick them out anyway. But it's kind of a good way to see which
yeah,
teams are drawing the most traffic to your
doing
websites.
well.
Yeah,
Well, we'll keep an eye on it.
and yeah, I put this one in. I just think it's interesting. Like it's something we've been talking about over like the last few weeks and months with AI overviews and whether they're a good thing or a bad thing for publishers. But probably the biggest publisher on the internet, Wikipedia, they're reporting a fairly significant drop in page views from actual people. So they're saying about 8% like compared to last year. And they're pretty much putting it down to AIOs and AI search platforms. So like essentially with AIOs, like Google overviews and whatever, people are getting the direct answers there, and then they're not having to click through to the actual Wikipedia article. I think it's probably a major warning for other sites and blogs that produce like informational content, and it's probably the best argument yet for traditional informational searches like who is or what is going out of business,
Yeah.
and then on like the other side of it,
Yeah.
and like this is something we've been talking about for the last, I don't know, since these kind of came in and since they were talked about coming in, and I guess it's kind of noted in the article as well. Wikipedia is one of the top cited sources for things like ChatGPT
Yeah.
and for the Google's overview. I think for ChatGPT, it's nearly like 50% of where they cite information from. So if you're a publisher and it's taken 50% of its answers from your content, what's the benefit for publishers? I mean, you can be a really relevant, highly authoritative source, and you can be producing helpful, authoritative content that like these kind of AIs are depending on, but you're still seeing a decline in your referral traffic. And for something like Wikipedia that depends on the traffic for revenue and donations and whatnot, like it's like what's the benefit?
Yeah, I don't know. See, the benefit is they still need more eyes on their website to get those donations. But it is, in some ways, I have never given them money. But
Yeah,
it's just a
some of
pity
them.
that they're not going to get as much
Yeah.
traffic. Like it's just bottom line. But I think we're all coming into that kind of sphere. I suppose, does it come to a point where they block
Yeah.
AI learning, or is it too late? The bots have learned from their content already. So
Well,
you know,
isn't that what Reddit is trying to do at the minute? It's trying to stop
or
them from
Reddit, yeah,
scraping.
Reddit has a big legal action coming against them. Perplexity as well. They said you've trained your AI content
Okay.
in hours. We'll see how that goes, though. Yeah.
So the marketing tip of the week then. Well, obviously we've been talking about audits the last 2-3 weeks, and we have a little offer for sites where we'll do like a fast track audit. So I just thought it'd be a good idea to kind of just quickly go through some of the things we would look for when we do a very quick audit, and some of the things that kind of site owners themselves could maybe be looking for. So one of the big things and one of the first things we look at, and you would be surprised by how many sites get this wrong, is just can your site be indexed in Google? A lot, especially with new sites, if they're brand new.
Developers have launched.
Yeah, you might have launched a sandbox site and then not ticked the button so Google can find it and your site can be up for. Because we've had this, people coming to us and their site's been live for 3 and 6 months and they're not seeing anything, and that's the reason why.
Yeah.
So yeah, kind of a simple one. Just first of all, check can it be indexed. And then next
Mm.
thing, like we would just have a little quick scan through the content, check that your information matches up to date, things like addresses, contact information. You're not just having very like old, outdated content or like events from 5, 10 years ago. And again, with a lot of news sites, there might be holding pages that have all the kind of lorem ipsum content,
Yeah.
that kind of placeholder text. So you just want to strip that out immediately. Next thing, your robots.txt file. So if you don't know how to check that, put in your site name in the browser bar and then / robots.txt, and it'll pull up
Hopefully,
your
you have one.
robots file. If you have one, yeah. So first you want to make sure you have one, and if it's there, you want to make sure it's set up correctly. Because again, sometimes people will have this set up, and it'll again block crawlers from finding
Yeah.
an index in their site.
A development
Uh,
site launches with a / disallow. That means search crawlers can't get your website, and people wonder why it
yeah.
falls out of search results. That's why.
Then you'd be kind of looking for any broken links on your site, internal or external. Like it hurts your search results, and it's also like a very poor user experience if you have a lot of broken pages or you're linking away to a lot of broken pages. And then a couple of big ones is your page load speed and your mobile responsiveness. So you'd want to be checking that your site works across all devices, so mobile, tablets, and desktop, because we know mobile responsiveness is like a massive one for ranking. And then your page load speeds as well. So you want to be looking for any large images that could be slowing down a page, animations, any kind of large files that are on there. So like you'd want to be minimizing and optimizing all of those. Things like carousels, we always advise clients not to use them because they can really, really slow down a page. Your images, you want to make sure those are compressed to at least below 100 kilobytes.
Unless it's like some high quality photography or creative
Yeah.
design website, it really doesn't matter. But yeah, you don't really need ones over 100
Uh,
kilobytes anymore, unless you're someone like Apple.
And then your site security, just check your SSL certs are up to date. You can kind of do that in the little lock screen up at the top when you're on your site, because otherwise you'll get that kind of page, that warning page that Google doesn't want to send you to. And then, yeah, just the accessibility then, just make sure you're compliant with all the new web content accessibility guidelines. And then just have a quick look at your SEO fundamentals. So you just want to make sure all your pages have title tags, meta descriptions, and any images on page have like the alt text in there, and everything is like optimized as best you can.
All right, deep dive of the week. So this one is something I decided to put in there as well. So this is one of those AI automation services. And look, Make.com is one. And then Google have actually brought out their own one that might break these. But I just wanted to talk about a workflow that could be possible now. Well, it's not could be, it is possible. And we're going to do a couple of tests on things to see how well it's going to go. But what I've done is I've done an export of Semrush keywords where I have the URL of the page and then the title. And what's gone in from that then is it's gone into a new section on into a Google Sheet, and we have two columns in that Google Sheet. But what I have is I have the chatbot communicating to it and saying, okay, here's my prompt. Wish you to look at the sheet, take the results from column A, and then have the ChatGPT prompt in place then to actually create content for each of those. It's like creating articles for each of the topics. Now, we'd never release those as a fully automated service, but you can actually get them to publish it to WordPress as well. But we wouldn't do that side of things. We're going to just have it so that it gets into a Google Doc, automates it to a Google Doc, creates a Google Doc, and then we'll, but it's just going to speed up the whole process a lot more. But it'll be a good test. We're going to use it on one of our own domains, see how it performs. But potentially, if we get all the prompting right and the humanization of the content right, it could be a great way to scale some copy. And if clients are more, I suppose, advanced and in the AI side of things, and they want to have this could be a good test. But we never test it on client side first. It has to be done on one of our own domains. I'm going to do it on a fitness domain, and I'm also going to test it on a furniture directory as well to see how that goes. But it's just going to automatically create content based on the export of SEMrush keywords and title ideas. Now they'll all have a similar kind of look and feel, but it's going to be an interesting one. But I thought I'd just mention that as a quick deep dive. But in probably 6 months, we should have some results, maybe even sooner.
Yeah, deadly. Really cool. Shallow dive of the week. I put this one in. Look, who doesn't like Pac-Man? For Halloween, the Google Doodle is a Halloween version of Pac-Man, the 80s classic. It's also the 45th anniversary of Pac-Man, so it ties into that as well. So
Is it 45th? Oh my
yeah, it
god.
released in 1980. I think like this time in 1980. So it's
God,
nice
that makes
way
me 40.
yeah. It's good. I had a little go of it there. Kind of lost track of time playing it. Definitely check it out.
Well, very good. I'll have to have a play
Helpful,
around with that one.
helpful tool of the
That's
week,
class. So I put this one in. So we'll see how this one goes. I said I'd do a stop sharing the presentation, kind of go into a quick little demo
Cool.
and show you kind of what you can do. I'm going to share something else. I'm going to go to the window, share this, and what this is then, is this up on the screen for you?
Yeah, I can see that.
So
Largest
this
search
is
engine for
the
e-commerce.
largest search engine for e-commerce emails. So the real thing with this is we were looking at different ways of researching how often our competitors might be publishing something. And we used
Yeah.
back market as an example, right, for a client that's selling kind of phones. But if you pop in here, you can actually see all of their emails that they're sending out.
Wow.
But you can tell it's like the hello. Not only that, you can
Yeah.
click in what's in the inbox, what deals have been done, and it'll actually bring in the look and feel of the email creative, so you can see
Jeez,
how it's done. But it's a great way of not only
that is really cool.
it's a great way of seeing the setup of an email, but
Yeah.
it's also good to see how they're performing, how often your competitors are emailing someone. But there's a number of, now not all places are, like maybe some smaller businesses might be on there, but if someone
Mm.
deems a website big enough, you can see how often someone does one of these. So like if you were a SaaS company and you were looking at like maybe SEMrush are in here, you can
Yeah.
pop into SEMrush, have a quick look around and see how things are going in here. And of course, yeah, it's like, oh, perfect. And you can see how often they're emailing, what type of content they're doing in,
What they're
trends
doing.
to watch. Do you know what? Besides being a competitive research tool and seeing how things are going, if you ever miss an email from a company and you just want to come in and have a look what
You
was
could
sent out,
look into
yeah, what a good
Yeah,
feature. I don't have to get something into my email box if I really care about what they're sending out. But
like
great tool.
you could just unsubscribe and read it there.
Yeah, yeah, if they are there, but yeah, it doesn't give you too much more detail. But I
Yeah.
like it from a
Oh
designing
well.
point of view. Because someone asked me, "Can you design up an email side of things?" Like, yeah, we can, but like, what do you want instead?
Mm.
But I thought that was a good kind of feature. But yeah, that's the tool of the week. Mill.com.
Nice. I'll check that one
Yeah.
out. And then trends of the week.
All right. Trend.
Trends of the week. So I suppose here in Ireland, a few
Oh.
big ones. I think did Fastway close or something.
Yeah, Fastway are going into, I believe, administration or something like that. But I can't really
Yeah,
comment on it too much. I haven't looked
I
at the
think
stories.
DJ
I
Carey,
saw
DJ,
DJ Carey.
yeah, DJ Carey is getting sentenced or something, isn't he?
Yeah,
He
he's
was
in
involved in
court.
that kind of fraud case. What, and he like pretended to be in a hospital bed with like a
Yeah,
charger.
yeah, I'm not going to get into it. I'm a Waterford supporter anyway, but
Yeah, LBT is a little
he's there. I
fraud
did
pretender.
notice a couple of Halloween costumes look the exact same as him as well. And they have everyone is sticking on the Kilkenny jersey and having like an
Yeah.
iPhone thing put into their nose. Chris Andrew, the Sydney Sweeney dress is
Oh,
very popular. I believe she wore a lovely dress.
I
Ireland
thought,
versus New Zealand is up and coming. So the team announcements, and of course Halloween.
yeah, Halloween's the big one.
And what's the story? There's a line in County Meads on the loose. I saw a few things.
Yeah, I saw a video. They're saying a lion-like creature was spotted running around Kells. I think it was like a farmer saw it when he was out plowing the fields or something like this. I don't know if it
It's
is or
probably like
isn't.
one
I
of those
only
massive dogs with Halloween manes on.
like it's a bit mad if it's true. I
So
mean,
asked you.
yeah. So what do we have this week?
So how can companies compete on a lower budget in e-commerce? Yeah, look, this is a pretty good one
Mm.
where I was actually going to have a conversation about this today. It's like Google Ads is going through the roof, and for some expensive products, like say electronics that might cost a fortune, and
Mm.
companies don't have a huge markup on selling the products. They might have a 30% markup or 20% markup, so they need to get a ROAS of about 12 um, in order to do well out of it and to get an actual profit. They need to do it at scale. But how can companies compete in a lower budget with this happening? And one of the things we mentioned in here was you really do need to have your own first party data. So it might be a better opportunity to get people onto an email list
Yeah.
in cases like this so that you can market to them more and more. So you can send out more emails. You're not charged any for that except for maybe if you have a large list on a
Yeah.
platform like Klaviyo or MailChimp or something like that.
Yeah. It's
That's
like
how companies can
relatively
compete with
cheap,
lower
but kind
budget.
of easy to scale up, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. It's like, and look, people mightn't be interested in researching, but it's a great way of someone getting to your website. You can help with conversions, where it's like,
Yeah.
okay, look, you get 10% off the first order, or you don't know where to go, have a look at our flash
Mm.
deals, something like that. Get them enticed in the email, but that means you can market to them more and more. Because unfortunately, with the price of Google Ads, getting them to your website and getting a click there and hoping that they buy straight away is kind of you'd hope that they've done the research and
Mm.
they will, and in some cases that does happen, but a lot of the
Yeah.
time people will look at reviews, they'll read different areas, they'll look at different competitors. So what you want to do is you want to entice them to try and get their information at the very least. So getting first party data is definitely one of the
Mm.
top things lower budget companies can do to compete with e-commerce.
Yeah.
That'd be my take on it. I don't know if you have anything else, but
No, no, I'd agree. Like you said, yeah, it's probably kind of best way to do it. And yeah, that kind of tool you showed there earlier is great as well. If you are putting together emails for email marketing, it's a good way to kind of look at what your competitors are doing and take ideas and make them better. How can businesses and sites optimize for GEO?
yeah. Well, look, everything is built on the foundation of SEO. So
Yeah.
you have to have your good SEO put in place if you're going to compete in GEO. Now, GEO, generative engine optimization, I still personally believe it's just SEO, but this is a new term that is cropping up. It's the same with AI search and AIO, like whichever way you want to come around about it. It is something to think about. But
Yeah.
you can earn or do different things to earn citations in LLMs and try and feature a bit more. So some of the things that I'd be looking at would be increasing your brand mentions offline. So
Mm.
citations matter massively. Like AI is trying to make sure that if they're mentioning something, that there's a correlation across the web that this is true, if they
Yeah.
want to put it as factual. So the more times you can mention your brand around the web, so it is kind of link building, digital PR, that side of things will have a massive impact.
And
Earning,
then,
getting those citations is important.
yeah, and I suppose like in your content, then you'd want to be using like, you know, actual data, statistics, and kind of quotes from proper sources then as well, right?
Yeah, it has to be done in there. You need to mention the expertise, all those kind
Mm.
of things that are put into play. You want to make sure that your web page is highly citable as well. You know,
Yeah.
by that means you mentioned there about the statistics. So if you're going to get cited, you want to have original research, but the topic should be around the same thing. You just might need a different perspective. It has to be more relative.
Mm.
Timestamps are a big thing. LLMs are looking for something more refreshed and up to date, because with
Okay.
Google, they'd have their, like, Google are good at crawling the web, but LLMs need a bit more help, and they're trying to figure out if they're in different ways. I personally believe that having clear takeaways at the start of your content is always a really good way to do it.
Yeah.
So, having a key takeaways, but then getting into the formation and structure is like the FAQs,
Yeah, I
like
suppose
you
you're
get
kind
into.
of, if you think of those when they pop up, it's kind of very scannable. So you'd want to be like writing your content to be scannable. So like, short sentences, key terms in there, and make sure it's like easy for people to skim. And I think that's where your FAQs and stuff. I mean, like, I don't know. I was reading something there or watching something. They were saying like, anticipate what users an AI will ask, and then have an FAQ section that like addresses that. Like, I mean, that's just part of the
Yeah,
regular
you
SEO.
can have a pretty long page, but
Yeah,
it does work. We have been seeing it, but getting mentioned in lists and getting mentioned, but if your competitors are mentioned somewhere.
yeah, but like I said, I think stuff like that is just kind of regular SEO, isn't it? Just anticipating what people
Yeah,
might
it
be
is. It's like
asking.
it's link building, it's getting mentions. It's off page digital PR.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's a bit of a curveball here now. But what about kind of sites with JavaScript? Because I know, might have a harder time. All of the AI crawlers might have like a harder time reading sites that you really rely on JavaScript for their main content.
Yeah, there's with JavaScript, you have your client side rendering and your
Mm.
server side rendering. If you're doing server side rendering, how can the search engine crawl it? It can't. It needs to register on the
Yeah.
page. So that's one of the big things. So people who are using some React softwares, if the content is done on the server side, it can't be crawled. So it's pulling
Mm.
data from somewhere onto the page, putting it in a certain format. And it needs to be transferable onto the page for the search engine to read it. So yeah, I have a feeling that JavaScript websites won't perform as well at the start in this. Now it will get better,
Yeah.
and maybe Google's AO views, but maybe ChatGPT might not do as well. But especially with up to date content. So if something is like released today, they might struggle a bit more. But
Yeah.
I could be totally wrong. We need, to be honest, JavaScript experts are going to be relied upon very heavily for websites that are doing that kind of thing. Yeah. Summary: it's SEO. You're just building a few more things and trying to help the LLMs and I suppose the AI have something more unique, get mentioned more online, just to give it that extra bit of confidence that you're the right answer for it.
Very good.
Yeah, that's it for the week, Mark. So
Well, that's it. That was a quick one
we're a
now.
bit late in the day doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can
That's, uh,
grab some lunch, and I hope Ryan is having a fantastic time at
He's having
his
a great time.
graduation.
I think it's usually Ryan must do all the talking because we're about a half an hour early on where we usually finish.
That's really good.
That's
See
good.
you, Mark.
Sure, look. I'll let you go, man. Talk to you soon.